What's up, everybody? International Master William Paschall here, live and healthy with you guys. I'm so sorry we had to cancel this simul yesterday because it was going to be a special simul. I wanted to do a longer simul, basically like 60, 40. We'll get to that though. Next week, this coming week, this Sunday won't be possible because I have a team game on Sunday. So I think we'll schedule the long simul for the week after this week, basically next week. Anyway, guys, thanks for your wishes of positive health. Tushar, I'm lucky. I'm fine. I just I spent the day in the hospital yesterday, thinking I was suffering from like appendicitis or something, but I'm fine. Everything's cool. So, luckily that's resolved. Today we're gonna be playing 5+3 through 7+3. And just keeping it casual challenges. This is only my second stream back from the tournament. I've been kind of out of practice from streaming here, so it feels kind of weird to be streaming. Like, I missed 9 days, then I did a stream, then I took a day off, then I missed another stream, so I feel like, wow, this is weird. Anyway, Nefrov, so you know what I went through. It's really painful, but it's not, fortunately too serious. So we will we'll take the challenges that we get here from the subscribers, and also from maybe some other guys at the end of the stream. Railbird80, what's up? I'm just gonna get started here with Morwa. I didn't play, like, obviously yesterday, and I played a couple of blitz games on Saturday. Maybe it's not Weird Wednesday. Weird for us as well. Health is weird. Alright, so I've been doing a lot of G3 lately. In the last tournament, I found this move seems to work well against players whose repertoires against like Knight F3 and G3 are not that defined. I was joking last stream that I can just do like G3, Bishop G2, Knight F3, castles against anything. I mean, it's a really lazy way to play the opening, but I think if we explored the repertoire a little deeper, I could come up with some good ideas. Tushar, I did have one game against that guy that you knew, or maybe you didn't know. One of the Indian opponents, Pranav Anand, actually caught me in a system where I didn't know what I was doing well enough, and I got a bad position with white. I followed this game kind of blindly that I had played before, but he understood it pretty well. I need to know a little bit deeper what I'm doing here. Alright, so Marat plays c5. That's actually pretty common move and pretty dangerous. I can always play the white side of a normal. This is 5+3, so I shouldn't talk so much. But we can always play the white side of like a King's Indian attack, say. But I don't think that the pure King's Indian attack is my favorite. Alright, anyways, he could play d4 there, or also take. All those options are good. But you've got to know what you're doing, like in all cases here. Now, I guess d4 transposes to a kind of Catalan. I'm talking too much, though. If I play d4 and he takes on c4, I don't know. Now we just transpose to a Tarash, which I like a lot. So I think that's really like one of the options I like the best. Now that I think about it, we had a game like this with Marat a couple days ago. Was it on Saturday? Wait, what am I thinking? On Friday. Would have been on Friday when I did my stream. So the Pranav Anand guy played, he really knew what he was doing. Of all the little kids that I played this week in the Budapest Spring Festival, he was the only one that I was really impressed with. Even though I drew with like 3 others. Those guys weren't that good, but the guy, I think the Pranav Anand guy is going to be a really strong player. He had like a 2370 something performance. He had me close to beat, and he really understood like positionally what was going on, not tactics, not about just the opening, but I felt like strategically he had a really good understanding what was going on. And of the little kids that I played, there were like 6 of them or 7 of them. I think that guy will be the most talented. So anyway, Bishop e7 here. Last time Morwa did something different with like Bishop e6 and h6. Now he's going into like a proper Tarash. Um, what's up, guys? Matt Kun. Yeah, I played 6 kids. No, I played 6 kids in all. Yeah, I only played 8 rounds because I dropped out in the last round. I didn't want to play in the morning against a low-rated player, possibly with black. Although my colors were alternated, so my colors were balanced. I could have played either white or black, but I was due for black. So I was like, well, screw it. I'm not going to play the last round. I was tired anyway. So I played 6 kids. 3, it was like, what, 3 11-year-olds, 2 12-year-olds, and a 15-year-old or something like that. All right, so Marwa has discovered the the proper like move order. I guess he's really supposed to wait another move. Let's see. Castles, then bishop g5, then h6. I guess it doesn't really matter. You know, you can exchange on d4 and then castle. Although white maybe could... Technically, see, the thing is that white could change plans here. I mean, I could do something other than bishop g5, I suppose. If he doesn't exchange on d4, I don't have as many options, maybe. So what's up, guys? Soltigo. Castles. Bishop g5, we're just transposing to the main line. As I said, I don't know theoretically if it's better to try to play like b3 or something, but this is what I know, so I play what I know. I guess I got this line that I play from Jinji. Basically, after h6, the main line is bishop e3, but I've been playing bishop f4 for a long time because it kind of fouls people up. It's really not better than bishop e3, just a little bit different. I also play bishop e3 sometimes. But the Tarash, yeah, this is an opening that I always feel very comfortable playing. The structure is very clear. You have this isolated pawn to play against. So what's up, guys? I'm sorry I missed the simul yesterday. I was ill, had to go to the hospital. I'm fine now. Don't worry about me. Marwa, bishop d6. This move I've never encountered before. Bishop takes... I'm sorry. Well, there are all sorts of weird possibilities here. But let's see. Knight takes d5. Knight takes d5. Bishop takes d5. Bishop takes f4. Knight takes c6. Maybe the problem is knight takes d5, bishop takes f4. No, knight takes d5, bishop takes f4. That's what he said. Knight takes d5, bishop takes f4. What am I going to do about that? Knight takes c6 anyway. There's no problem. Knight takes d5, knight takes d5. Oh, I understand now. Knight takes d5, knight takes d4. But I'm still up a pawn there. Alright, I guess this drops a pawn for black, but it's early in the morning and I might have missed a sequence or something. Wow, Soltigo. The Balish Pastor guy played well against me. Yeah, he played well against me, except for the fact that he didn't see like clear wins once he achieved a winning position. But I was talking about this to some people, and it seems like the Hungarian trainers that teach the kid are just teaching him to, like, you know, eat opening encyclopedias or something. I think, you know, it's a little too much of just memorizing openings, and he couldn't find like 4 different ways, okay, you know, to basically like kill me. Even in the final position, he was clearly better, and he was intimidated because I'm higher rated, so he took a draw. But it wasn't that easy, you know, to win in the final position. He was like +2 according to Stockfish, but it's not that easy. It was ops-colored bishops, and it looked like I had some ghost threats. So, but I mean, that's the kind of kid who maybe he'll reach like 2,500, you know. But I mean, I think the other kid that I played from India, the Pranav Anand, could be even stronger in the long run. All right, so we just want a pawn here. This is good. Probably it's a small concession to trade queens, give him like a move basically, but up a clear pawn like this, we just keep it simple. Memorize 17 moves of openings. I did a crazy thing against that kid, you know. I played e4, c5, knight f3, queen c7, and he was confused, and he spent like, 5 minutes trying to figure out what was going on. And the problem was I couldn't figure out a way to like keep it weird, basically. I couldn't figure out a way to keep him out of his comfort zone, you know. I saw his games and he knew main lines. Like, I saw maybe 20 games. This is a little kid who's like 11 years old. He's being trained by Hungarian trainers. Maybe not the strongest Hungarian trainers. There's lots of private trainers you can hire, like Zoltán Ribli, or like, I don't know, József Pinter. You can privately hire extremely strong trainers, but I guess like the state trainers, kind of who work for the Chess Federation and stuff like that, they're not quite as strong as maybe some of these private guys. So I had the feeling that this kid was getting lessons from kind of like the group, the standard trainers, not like elite trainers, but just like standard trainers. And they're teaching him to memorize all this theory, which is basically against a lot of principles of teaching people to learn chess. Like the opening is probably like the least important stage. That's my theory anyway, according to the Pioneer Palace method. I mean, if you look at, I say this all the time, but if you look at like Karpov, players like Gadakamsky, this is a strong move here from Morois, who was tricky. Should I consider taking on c6? I think the openings are least important. Now he's got me in a stupid pin here. Making my life difficult. My last move was inaccurate. But maybe we have some tricks. Oh man, that really messes me up. Alright, now I have to let him mess up my own pawn structure. So this gives him a little bit of compensation now. I didn't want to do this. Tushar's talking about my games from the Spring Festival. I was tired around 7 and 8. Well, round 8 was just a winning position. I mean, I just hallucinated. That's all there is to that. And he has this like prepared king f6. Strong move. I underestimated that. I was hoping for something like king d7. Anyway, he did a good job to fight to this point. And now it's winning chances, but not necessarily easy to win for white. It may have been a mistake to trade rooks. I think this is really a win. He should keep a set of rooks on the board, probably. Fairly easy to win with just bishops on the board. Very aggressive play though. I like the king g4. Wow. I've got to avoid getting any of my pawns fixed on the wrong color, like on a white square. He almost achieved that by making me keep this pawn on h3. But I think now, as long as that doesn't happen, I should be good. Then we get the queenside moving. Yeah, now he's actually got a pawn fixed on the wrong color. now it should basically be pretty trivial to win this. Extremely strong king position. I think he should not let me get into d6 with the king there. Now I can actually attack from the back. h5 is also not helping his cause, but it's already lost. We should be able to queen our queenside pawns very easily. Does anyone have a recommendation against the Reti? Well, I mean, like, pretty much everything. Like I was talking about here, I could have played bishop e8. Against the Reti, I think there are so many very reasonable systems. Like Marois. I don't like transposing to the Tarrasch, though. You know, if you look at the opening here, here's a typical like Reti move order, right? By transposition. This is like a standard starting position. Okay, he played c5 on move 3. I wasn't really thinking about it. But I mean, here if we play knight f6, now white plays c4 typically. This is like a standard Reti starting position. Okay, now when I castle or whatever, then he should decide, let's see, sorry, it's his move. Here you can play d4, you can play other stuff too. Takes on c4. I mean, I think that both of these moves are good. Bishop e7. Pretty much every line is okay. Takes on c4, d4. Another idea would be if I play castles. There's also b5. This is another line that I think is fairly okay for black, probably. So maybe the most critical is like going d4 though. In this position. Knight f6. Of course, you can play here knight f6, c4, d4, like a reversed Mamedyarov. You can play this, but you have to be accurate and know what you're doing. You can also just wait, I guess, with bishop e7. This is probably like the main line, bishop e7. The problem with that is you have to be able to transpose. You allow transposition to the Catalan. You have to be able to play the black side of the Catalan. Did you see the women's championship or something, b5? Well, no, b5 is a known move. There was a Mongolian guy that played last year on the first Saturday who was playing that. He didn't play it against me, but he had played it before and I was prepared. And I saw it again recently from someone else. So that's like a Makaganov kind of idea against the Grunfeld or whatever. They do like b4, knight f3 and stuff. Alright, let's get to the rest of the challenges here. I'm going to play the challengers first to our subscribers. So, Mule Skinner. We lost Nefedov. I guess he had to leave or something. Soltigo says, personally I played the ready as though it was a d4 opening. Well, I mean, it's obviously closer related to d4 openings, you know, than it is to e4. Sam Shanklin. The only thing I know about Sam Shanklin is that he played here on first Saturday, and I wasn't really thrilled with what he did. Maybe it's a very minor thing, but we had to play in like the first round of one of these first Saturday tournaments, and you have like 5 minutes between the time the organizer announces the pairings and like starting the game, or 10 minutes, and he brought like his laptop and to the tournament hall, and he was like preparing for me like in 5 or 10 minutes before the game. I just thought it was kind of like a little bit weird. Obviously, like, I don't have a computer there, and I don't know, man. It just, I can't even say it's like immoral, but it just felt like kind of like weird, kind of taking advantage of every little thing you can get, you know? I mean, didn't really like that. He was also kind of arrogant when I lost to him. The first game I lost with black, and then the second game I drew with white. But he behaved kind of arrogantly in the analysis. Alright, c5, anyway, small little things. But anyway, it's surprising that Shanklin won the U.S. Championship in a way. It's not entirely surprising because he he is like really getting to be quite high rated. He seems extremely serious. But, well, no, I mean, it was a bad pairing. I mean, I get paired with a guy with black. I know nothing about him, and I have no preparation, and he's got his laptop out and like preparing for me, you know, for 10 minutes before the game. It was like he was at a pretty huge advantage, so I'm not surprised I lost. This was like a long time ago, though. It was like 10 years ago when he was, you know, not that high rated. I mean, he was like 2475 or something. But whatever. So Caruana, I don't know, man. I guess he was contractually like forced to play in the U.S. Championship, but I think it's kind of weird to play a little too much. With like this guy qualifying for the World Championship, it just seemed kind of weird to turn around like a week later and play in the U.S. Championship. I guess it's not going to hurt him that much, but maybe he ought to be like preparing for the World Championship instead of playing in this small stakes tournament. But I guess like, you know, the billionaire has him contractually signed up to play, so pretty hard for Caruana to live up to his like candidate's victory, you know, and like win every single tournament he plays. Definitely cash prizes for second, and probably like a number, maybe all places get a cash prize at the U.S. Championship. I mean, that's wouldn't surprise me. It's possible they all win something, you know. But I was bitching about this U.S. Championship situation last stream. I just don't think that the billionaire, what's his name, should be able to control the U.S. Championship like indefinitely. It's the kind of tournament that should be like rotated around different cities in the United States, not owned by like a private individual. It's kind of like why I play on lichess and not chess.com or something. I don't want like some private people to control everything. So I just really think that the U.S. Championship should be not the St. Louis Championship, the U.S. Championship. Like, it should be moved around the country and not played in just one place for this private, you know, entertainment of a billionaire. I think it's really, really lame. 5,000 is last play. Yeah, that's good money. I mean, nobody's complaining about the money, you know, but I just don't agree with the format, you know, that it should always be held in the same place under total control of this guy. It's nice that he sponsors the tournament, but is it worth it to let it be his private tournament? Alright, what am I going to do now? Mule Skinner. I keep thinking I'm playing Morwa, because we just had a Reti against Morwa as well. This is this is not a position I really know. It just seems like a standard type of position. Kasparov admires him. Kasparov admires anybody with a lot of money, I'm sure. Admires. I don't know if admires is the right word. But, okay, like high stakes sponsors are hard to come by. I'm not gonna criticize anybody for kissing up to him. But I just don't like the fact that it's always gonna be in St. Louis. You know, it's just, that's not a U.S. championship. That you hold it in the same place every single time. The Kasparov hate. No, I don't hate Kasparov like some people. You know, I'm pretty neutral toward Kasparov, and I think that he has some principles and stuff. I could have played knight g5 last move. I was focusing too much on development. But Kasparov, we can pronounce it the American way or the Russian way, but Kasparov is, you know, he's out for himself, but he's also got these morals and stuff where he's all these political aspirations, you know, to rid the world of dictators and stuff like that. But at the same time, he seems like he needs his private stash of money as well. All right. You know, I just realized if knight g5, he has like knight d4. That doesn't work. Okay. I'm definitely neglecting the center with this move. But I don't know, you know, what he's going to do here. Because h6, bishop takes f6. Maybe that's an interesting line, actually. Maybe that's his best. h6, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, queen h7 check is like a washout. No, it's not, actually. I saw something. No, it's not working. Maybe that really works for him. I guess I have knight e5 now. Yeah, he can start with FIDE. He tried, man. Nobody's going to vote for Kasparov. He's been trying forever to get, like, elected to something. Now I've given up the d4 square. No, you need somebody who's not political. Not that political. Kasparov's too polarizing. I think that's the problem. It just has to be somebody new who's not that polarizing if you want someone to take over. Alright. The d4 square is a serious problem, though. I guess I have a shot here. Deep tactics. Alright. Yeah. Well, Karpov, on the other hand, is like in the Russian Duma. So he's... A lot of people don't like Karpov, too. With power come enemies. Anyway, guys, I'm just happy to be here, be back. Talking about the U.S. Championship, I was just saying how I think it should be a U.S. Championship. Your family owns a house near Kasparov? Wow. It sounds like he's obsessed, man. You know, I know people like that. They become obsessed and they can't talk about anything outside of one topic. You know, actually, another person who's a great example of that is like Fischer. They said that if you talk to him like about normal stuff, he was totally normal. You know, then sometimes he would get distracted and start all this like racist stuff. But if you could keep him off the subject, he was completely normal. Okay, what are we gonna do? Just relaxing calmly here, relaxing. I was looking for a different word. Reacting, I think I was gonna say. Well, we're up a pawn. There's nothing to complain about. I've got a little weakness on the white squares, but it's not that easy for him to exploit it. I should really be pretty happy with this position. I'm up a clear pawn. His structure is broken. His king's more exposed than mine. At the same time, he still has fairly good control of the center, so it's not that like I'm going to be able to beat him that easily. What, he's now Croatian, living in Croatia? Wow. Soltigo, what's up? 1,000 bits, man. Thank you. I was in the hospital yesterday, Soltigo, so I mean, you've been through a lot, man, health-wise. I had no idea, Matt Kuhn, that he was in Croatia. I thought he was in the U.S., to be honest with you. I mean, he seems like he's constantly in the U.S., and I assumed that he was living there. So he likes Croatia. Wow. That's crazy. That's cool. He's actually close by, huh? We're neighbors, practically. I'm in Hungary, so... Croatia. What am I supposed to do here? I guess d4. The rook on d5 wants to go to h5. I don't know. I can check and protect my king with a knight on f3. That's interesting, though. I did not have a clue. When am I going to my next tournament? This was a really bad tournament. I played the Budapest Spring Festival. I thought he lived in New York, too. Well, I mean, he probably lives in, like, 3 different places, realistically. A guy like Kasparov, with all of his money, I mean, he probably has properties in more than one place. You know, so living in one place is not necessarily that clear. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I heard of that, Matt Kuhn, because there was a lot of... A year ago, whenever there was all this big political discussion about, you know, migrants at the borders and stuff like that. Knight f3, rook on a to d8. What am I doing though? I've got to make sure my king side is protected. Maybe I should just exchange my bishop, but nah. I actually want to play for the long diagonal here. Would be a good idea. Still, I've got to watch my king. It's surprisingly difficult to do anything. So anyway, thanks for the 1,000 bits from Soltigo, our mod. Man, it's not like he doesn't do enough. But Mule Skinner's getting kind of on my nerves with this kingside migration. Alright. What if we go for the e6 pawn? Casper said Croatia, one of the few countries where he feels safe. Well, I guess a relatively neutral country as far as he's concerned. I don't know the relationship between like Croatia and say like Russia, you know. Like Russia has a lot of pull on a lot of like Central European countries, but maybe Croatia isn't like one of them. Like Hungary, for example, the Russians have, the Russians have a pretty good political pull here. But maybe, Kaspar wants to stay away from that, I'm sure. So something takes g6 way back. Did I have that? Don't know. Now I can just open it up with d4. It's like he's aiming for queen h3 or something. We're really well centralized now. I mean, he has the d5 square. Well, I guess I have to go back to c2. It's alright. We keep the d1. The d1 rook is protected. Basically, I just want to trade some pieces now. Am I a believer of Stockfish? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You've got to take it with a grain of salt. But I like Stockfish. I like the way it plays. I like its style. It's kind of positional. Not like old school computers. It seems to have fairly human-like style. I don't know about knight takes g6 earlier. I didn't see that. So there's a lot of things I don't see in a 5-minute game. It's hard enough to play 5-minute. I mean, bullet chess to me is just blunderfest. We really ought to have something here. We can just trade queens. I can't quite force a trade of queens. Oh, I have this move. Okay. That may just be killing. Because the bishop takes f6, I just realized it's over. Well, I guess he can play like queen e7 or something. Queen f7. Just lost. You're a big believer of Stockfish. You're second master. Yeah, no, I mean, I think... My theory, anyway, with that Tushar is that I thought that slowly if I use... People are always asking, why do you use the engine when you analyze and stuff? I don't like that, But I think that... I never really talked about it, but I think that I believe that if we use the engine constantly, if we use it enough, I think we can start to kind of see its patterns and even play like the computer. I think we can begin to play like the computer in style, and I think we can learn from it, even subconsciously. I may be wrong, I may be right, but I feel like, when I'm on having a good day, I can really start to play like the computer itself. All right, so rook takes c8. This was good. The opening itself, I don't know. This was a kind of strangely unusual line for me. We got c5 again. He takes. Yeah, so here he goes with bishop e7, which isn't very common. Just 18 games. I don't know, though. I guess the d takes c4 itself isn't very popular here. All right. All right, we're out of subscriber challengers, so I'm just going to start taking the other challengers. I don't know what happened to Nefedov. All right, come on, come on. I always call him that. I don't know why, but anyway, it's like become a thing. So I had a really bad tournament here. I was on that subject for a minute and got distracted. As far as my next tournament, I have no idea. I was hoping to lose like 50 rating points, play in the World Open under 2,300, but that's not going to happen this year. I think my rating is going to go down to like 2349 or something after the last disaster. So this is like the second lowest I've been in the last 20 years probably. I should really try to find a tournament where there's like a prize I could actually win. While I take advantage of the fact that my rating is really low now. Normally here I play b6. Let's just stick with our system. A 7 days challenge. I don't mind you guys want to play 7 days correspondence. That's from Lochik. Okay. Lochik. I don't know how to say it. He tried to correct me once, but I forgot. Okay, so this actually transposes to a kind of classical variation. Well, it is a classical, like a normal classical variation. b6 is appropriate here. The way I play b6 on move 4, it's kind of a sideline. But now we go into like a very common variation, in other words. I just don't remember now. I played this with white. I had a game with Yopishин once with white. He was smoking like 2 cigarettes at the same time. I don't know if he's still doing that. It was really funny. I like went out in the hall and he was there like 1 cigarette in each hand. Double fisting it basically. I mean, I think this is like a very standard variation. I don't know if c5 is it too early here? It's pretty standard, I thought. I used to play this with white, but it's a lot of the queen c2 variation takes a lot of theory. Flying Sky was banned by lichess. I didn't know, Tushar. That's interesting. Because I did report him months ago about our few. I mean, I know that he's a very high-rated bullet player, and he had played tons of games. But I sent a message to lichess about the couple of long games that we played, and I was sure he was a computer. But they didn't respond. They didn't ban him, you know. But I'm not surprised, you know. I'd have to say I'm happy about that. The other thing was that I looked up his name, and he's in his profile he said he was from Sweden, and his name was Alex. And then I looked up naturally, like, well, what guys are in Sweden named Alex? And this guy played like a GM against me in like 3 games, 3 long games, long rapid. He played like a computer actually, but okay, if he was human, he would be like a strong IM or something like that, you know, minimally like a 2,500 FIDE master, or I don't know, you know, and he was like, there is nobody named Alex in Sweden over like 2,150. I thought, okay, that's interesting. Maybe he's just lying about his, you know, country of origin or something. But no, I mean, that's good to know. I don't think he was banned because of me, because that was months ago, you know, when I reported him for those games, and they didn't seem to be convinced by that. So I didn't hear anything back. It must have been something to do with more recent exploits. He was like in the top 100 in 3 different categories. But you can look at my games with the man. It was clear. Yeah, he was pretty bad. I refused to play him after the 3rd game anymore. I was pretty sure. He actually came up with a fairly interesting novelty in the English opening against me in one of those 3 games. Probably the computer found it on its own. Akshat Chandra was banned by chess.com. I noticed he started streaming here. I don't know anything about him other than his St. Louis exploits. You know, he's a prodigal son of Sinkfield of some kind, but definitely, you know, someone that I have no contact with, or, you know, he's too young for me to know him from the US or something like that. I'm not that confident in what's going on in this position. It feels like my development's fairly like bad, and I'm actually getting tied down to f6. So what am I supposed to do? Bishop a6. It doesn't even threatening anything. It doesn't even threaten anything. He's gonna have. Basically, I have to be really smart here. What am I doing? This looks a little bit worrisome. Huh. I guess I could play like d5, then I'm going to lose a pawn. But I'd have compensation. It looks dangerous though. I'm just in this pin and I can't get out of it. Knight e5, knight g6. This doesn't develop anything. Oh, I said come was lower rated. Was he 1300? Okay, this is maybe blitz or... He's 1900 in blitz. Yeah, okay, I don't know what he was rated before, but now it seems to be like pretty presentable. Like 1900 isn't bad. Yeah, no, I mean, if I say somebody's a computer, I mean, there's a good chance I'm right. I don't really like just say it because I lost and I'm angry or something. I mean, the guy really played like a computer against me. But he was playing tons of bullet, and I guess, you know, if he wasn't cheating in bullet, they couldn't really tell. They weren't sure. And it's possible he was a very, very strong amateur who was really, really good at bullet, and he just used the computer in like the longer games. Anyway, on to a new subject. What are we doing here? Well, I don't know enough about come to say, you know, like I have a clue about his personal style or anything like that. We've played 8 games, but I don't remember them well enough, you know, individually. I play too many games here. I need to play like 50 games with someone to start to get kind of familiar with their style. This is like the only way I can get out of this pin, it feels like, in a sensible way. Ow. Alright. So h6. Let's see. White has the bishop pair, you know, standard classical Nimzo. But in the endgame, I don't know. I should have a good centralized king. His pawn on c4 could be kind of weak on the wrong color. If he was to trade on f6, say. That's kind of a standard ending where white isn't really better. I've had those positions with the white pieces, and it's bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, trades. Structurally, white seems better, but I've got a lot of pawns in the center, and I have a king in the center, and you know, I just don't think that it's a problem for black. No, you're not afraid of double pawns here. This is a standard situation for black in these lines. Shouldn't be a problem at all. This is surprising. I thought about it, but I'm not sure that's a good move for white. I mean, I just play rook b8. What's he going to do? f4? He didn't want the double pawns. Well, it certainly would have been kind of risk-free position for white, though. You know, now he's actually lost. But bishop e2 was a terrible move. I thought he was going to play f4, forcing my knight to move away. Is there a good system for black like the English? What are you talking about, like against the English? Or a good system for black like the English? Like in the sense that it's like a system to play with black. What is this? We're just taking. He has the one move threat on d6. No, he just based on g2. Yeah, Soltigo's suggestion of... Well, you can always play... Where should I go? d8? c8? We'll just keep d8 protected, huh? That seems safer. d7, I mean. Well, I mean, Soltigo's suggestion, if you want to play like in the style of English, it should be something Sicilian. Accelerated Dragon is a good suggestion by Soltigo. Actually, a very, very solid opening, in a sense. Stream sniping. You don't have to think for a few moves. This could get ugly. Knight a5 is tempting. He just resigned. I guess queen f5 wins a piece here. Close to it. Not quite, but anyway, he's just a piece down. It's hard to answer your question, Dracofire. I mean, it's obviously much harder to suggest a simplistic system for black than for white, you know. I mean, life is just not that easy. You're down a move. You're down a move. I mean, it's not easy. It's much easier with white than it is for black. I'll think about it, but King Wiki, we haven't played him in a long time. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry for missing the simul yesterday. I was ill, but we're fine now. I'll be back regularly this week. Tomorrow night it's going to be, we're going to have a 7-2 rapid tournament tomorrow night here, 7 p.m. 7+2 rapid, my favorite time control for these tournaments. It gives us a little time to think about it. Think about the moves and stuff. So d4, we're playing the Nimzo mostly with black. Knights Templar, as someone who plays the English, I like playing the Caro-Kann. Actually, I have one of my students has that repertoire too. I have to say, I've been surprised lately. Like, the Caro-Kann is extremely trendy. I was watching all the games I was too distracted, actually, watching all the games in the Budapest Spring Festival, walking around on my opponent's time. King Wiki's gonna literally play the exact same line? Dude, come on. Alright, let's play it differently this time. I'm not gonna play c5 and give him that automatic, like, just repeat the last game. Bishop b7 should be fine as well. It's a different line. So the Caro-Kann, you do have to be careful though, because it's become extremely trendy. Every time I turn around, there's somebody playing both sides of the advanced Caro-Kann short system. Play the Hippo setup. You know, Tushar's suggestion actually popped in my head when Dracofire said that. You could just play a double fianchetto with like d6, e6, 97. If you want something that's really literally like forcing and easy to play, I mean, you know, not forcing, but like unavoidable. Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually not a bad suggestion from Tushar. I think the Hippo, double fianchetto with the knights in the center on e7 and d7 is Tushar did do that for a while. It's not that bad. I used to play it out of the English opening when white would play like a3. So I would play the Hippo if white was willing to waste the move with like a3. I felt it was more justified there, but you can play the Hippo against anything. What were you going to suggest, Soltigo? Okay, Dutch defense. I would caution against that unless you're a fairly experienced player. I don't really recommend the Dutch to people who are, say, like under 1800. I think you need to have a really good, really solid game before you go playing the Dutch. It weakens your king side a lot. I find the beginners just have a hard time in that. It takes a long time. I think the learning curve for the Dutch defense is also very, very slow. You got to lose a lot of games, basically, before you're really good at it. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So he's played bishop f4. I'll keep my options open. I don't know. Maybe e5, maybe c5, maybe knight e4 at some point. I could have played knight e4 last move and then even gone g5. Maybe that was the best. Anyway, guys, it's good to be back. Anatoly Karpark is watching. Carjacking versus Anatoly Karpark. Yeah, he just avoided the variation I was talking about. It's tempting to go knight e4, queen c2, e5 now. It's pretty logical continuation. But I'm going to mess up the move order. Oh, that would be dumb. e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6. Okay. Well, Knights Templar, I really don't think the people who are under 1800, at least 1700, should be playing the Dutch. It's just so easy to like kill yourself. I don't know. I really think it's just not very safe. Relatively inexperienced players should stay with more fundamental stuff. I mean, there's experimental, fun openings you can play, but the Dutch is going pretty far. I think the Dutch is like essentially the most aggressive opening you can play against d4. I mean, if you think about it. All right. So what do I do here? Do I take on d4? He has to take back with a knight. Then I have a big hole on the f5 square. Plus I bring his knight to a good square. That just doesn't seem that good. On the other hand, he's threatening bishop d3 now. Yeah, I think I should just do what? Just what? Yeah, like it's so easy. This is a longer game and I need to slow down. I mean, we've been playing like 5-3 every game. Now we have 7-3 and it's much different. Okay, the Petrov is good. But you still have to learn other systems. You know, you can't avoid everything with the Petrov. I mean, there's still other moves where I can play the bishop's opening, the Vienna game. I like the Petrov though. I mean, it's great. It's a great defense. Caruana picking up the mantle from Karpov and Kramnik. Actually, Shirov played the Petrov. I always said that was kind of a weird mix. So if I castle kingside, he plays bishop d3. Then I could take on d4. And he could even take back with the pawn, allowing discoveries. It's kind of insane. I don't like giving him a knight on d4, to be honest. But if I castle, he plays bishop d3. I need to have an answer here. Take knight c5. All right. His bishop is not that good because it's hitting on this pawn on d6. So I don't think that I'm giving him like a really powerful bishop or something. But I am giving up my strong point in the center. This is a major concession. It is a major concession to trade off your strong point in the center. And it gives him a strong knight on d4, admittedly. I like d4, knight f6. I've always played it. I've only played d5. You could count on, you can probably count on 10 fingers the number of times I've played d4, d5 with black. over the years. I like the flexibility of not committing my central pawns. I like White's structure here. The fact that I've given up the e5 pawn is good for him. He's got a strong knight on d4. But at the same time, Black's pieces are good. I have no bad pieces. My bishop on b7 is really strong. If he plays something like f3, he weakens his structure. It's hard for him to get rid of my knight on e4. So he has a strong knight. I have a strong knight. I like it when a stronger player is playing the Petrov because I feel like I can play for a draw with the white side. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Look, dudes, it's like, we've got to be really honest about it. I mean, Caruana is extremely, extremely lucky to win, like, what, he won 2 games with, he won 2 games in the Queen Exchange line, like Queen E2 against the Petrov. That's unheard of in the candidates tournament. I mean, that's really weird that happened, to be honest. Like Kramnik losing with white in the Queen E2 Petrov. Wesley So I can see, because Wesley So ended up playing a variation that I think doesn't stylistically suit him, and he got carried away against Caruana. But I think King Wiki's getting out of line here. Knight f5 was like a little bit too much. Like now it's like he's put that piece out beyond the zone of no return. He got a little carried away and neglected his development at this point. Maybe he wasn't really thinking about how my e4 knight is overprotected. Well, Matt Kuhn, to be honest with you, I thought that the threat is stronger than the execution as far as the why not first knight takes d3. I can always do knight takes d3. Yeah, we got this guy. He keeps making new accounts. It's very hard to get rid of him. It doesn't seem to matter how many times I report this troll, he just keeps coming back. All right. So now he played f3. So this is why I didn't see why I should take on d3, first. There's just no need for that. I don't really like leaving this knight on f5. I mean, I'm just going to keep it simple here. Trolls live under the bridge. We're not going to discuss them. They live under the bridge, they stay under the bridge, they get reported to they get reported to Twitch, and that's the end of it. Alright. No, I mean, King Wiki, I think, had an interesting position with chances for both sides, but knight f5, he got carried away. I don't know, I like my decision not to take that bishop on d3. I think that was actually right, but we'll check after the game. Matt Kuhn, I mean, it's possible that I could have interpolated the exchange on d3. But my theory is that keeping the tension is always to your advantage. It's just a matter of increasing the pressure. It's like the threat is stronger than the execution. We can get pretty far with generalizations. They don't, they're not always right, but if we adhere to principles really, really strongly, I think we can get to a fairly high level. And that's basically what I'm trying to promote to people. Principled chess, and you can get to be quite strong. You can get to be as strong as me to IM level. Basically, if you can play with a very principled sense, if you always adhere to strong principles, I think you can get to be a strong master. I'm not sure about GM. I think maybe we have to be even crazier, but I'm working on it. It may be too late. Anyway, my last tournament was a disaster. I had a 2200 performance rating, which is really horrible. But on the positive side, What's interesting is when you look at my tournament performance from the Budapest Spring Festival, 8 games, 22.05 performance. The funny part is that if you look at the performance rating of my opponents, those 8 guys that I played, you'd say, okay, if my performance rating was like 2200, then their average rating should be, or their performance rating should be around 2200. But the truth is that the performance rating of my opponents was something like 2330. So I ended up, facing people who were playing a lot better than they should have been playing, according to the rating, which wasn't fun. Seems like I get a lot of that lately. But anyway, too many draws. All right, if I can lose a few more rating points, maybe we can win a good class prize. That's the next goal. I was hoping to play in Philadelphia in the World Open. Performance rating is just very easy to determine, man. It's basically if you beat a 2200, you have a 2600 performance. It's 400 points difference. If you lose to a 2600, you have a 2200 performance. So winning a game is like 400 points. This is an approximation that's very, very close to accurate. The 400 point rule. So beating a 2000 player should give us around a 2400 performance. Now, can we finally win another pawn here? Let's see, knight d2, rook moves, knight takes c4. Looks pretty good. Yeah, and that we'll be on the e3 pawn there as well. If he tries to pin my knight, it'll be backed up by a pawn. King Wiki played the opening well, but then he went too far with knight f5. I'm dropping down to 2349 probably on the next list. It's really low for an IM. Not like a senior citizen IM, but I'm still very, very disappointed with myself. I need to play better. Too many draws. But I need to play in tournaments where I'm not playing little kids every round. This was really bad. I wouldn't play in this tournament again. With my rating, and the other thing is you get like trapped into playing the same rated player, the same rating level players every single game. I couldn't get away from these like 2100s who were playing well. Like the 2100s and the 2200s that were playing badly had like negative scores. I always had like an even score. I never had like a minus score, so I never got to play any of the really bad players. Unfortunately. I had to keep playing like the low rated players who were having good tournaments. Alright, well, we should probably free ourselves here. Try to do something on the A file. So beat 43210. You're going to get an Australian Chess Federation rating soon. I was wondering, did the Australian Chess Federation, do they basically have the same kind of rating system? ELO type ratings? I didn't know. I didn't even know they had their own rating system. I played in Australia once, but it was like 20 years ago. I finished second. I made an IM norm in the Australian Masters in 1996. That was my first IM norm. It was a funny tournament too because I lost my first round game to like this guy who was like the second lowest rated player in the tournament. Then I never lost another game the rest of the way. I also think he stole my watch from the board. I put my watch down on the table and it was gone when I came back from the bathroom. The funny part of the thing was the tournament was in a bank lobby. You just don't think your watch is going to get stolen from the lobby of a bank. But nobody would have been close enough to steal it except for my opponent, really. Without, someone noticing. And, like, he was at the board. I mean, if somebody would come by and, like, picked up the watch, it would have been, like, he would have seen them, That's how I started the tournament, like, losing an expensive watch. And the first round game against some guy who was, like, one of the lowest rated players. I would never take off my watch like Kasparov at the board, but it was bothering me, and it was the tournament is in like the lobby of a bank where there's like these like roped off things like around and stuff. I was like, okay, well nobody's gonna steal my watch here, and it's gone when I come back. It distracted my game too. I mean, I was like really upset by it. The tournament and the tournament in the bank lobby, it was in Melbourne. It was funny because they had turned off the cameras, of course. The funny thing was, like, the next day on the street, I found like $100 Australian on the ground. Like a day or two after that, it still didn't pay for my watch, but it was like just kind of like weird. Like that's the most money I ever found, like paper money lying on the ground. Like 1 or 2 days later. Like, I was getting paid back by karma or something. So, bishop g7. Okay, I've been thinking about the Peertz defense. I've been playing the classical variation for years, but I'm a little bit sort of fed up and like frustrated with the classical knight f3, knight c3. And I don't play the long lines. I don't play the sharper lines with castle's queenside. I don't know the theory that well. So this is actually not the Peertz defense, though. It's a more flexible move order for black, you know, playing bishop g7 and g6 in a way. So I'm just wondering, you see, if I play g3, if I try to play g3, he has more available plans than in the standard Peertz, where the knight's already on f6. But anyway, let's try it. Come to think of it, though, I mean, g3, knight c6 immediately does look kind of irritating. I'm not sure that g3 is so good here. What if I played bishop e3 and then decide what to do? Maybe I can play a delayed g3. As a modern player, the Austrian attack is really tough to play against. Okay, I mean, f4 is like the critical move, but Turkey farm. But just like in the Peertz, I mean, this is a modern, now it's a Peertz. The f4 lines require extensive theoretical knowledge, which I don't have. Like I played the Peertz when I was like 1500 until like 2100 with black. Wasn't my main defense, it was something that I played occasionally, but my knowledge of this opening is like playing with white and playing quiet systems, and then some knowledge for black, but my knowledge is like 20 years old, or even longer than that, so I basically don't know the Austrian attack in its modern form well enough to feel comfortable to play. But I agree, probably like f4. Maybe like more popular though are the systems with bishop e3 and castles long. I didn't intend on castling long here though. I just wanted to play a kind of delayed fianchetto. Stopping knight g4 with the idea of g3. Dory like, whoa. What's up, Dory? So, well, beat 432 is 1400 on chess.com. That's you know, the chess.com ratings are pretty like on, what should we say? They're not inflated as much. What is this? Knight on bd7, that's kind of weird. It's probably not that bad of a move, but my intention was to play g3 and bishop g2. Just a quiet fianchetto setup. Now it's tempting to play f4. But that would get much more violent, you know. If he does, you know, then he has like knight h5, knight g3 or something. I just felt like playing something solid. Yes, you could play g4. You could play g4 here. But again, I felt like I just want to play something solid. I think it's a matter of style. This is 6+3. I was playing 5+3s and then 7+3, and now it's a 6+3. Each time control is a little bit different. I feel like here it's kind of tricky. You think you have more time, but it's not that much really. The 7+3 gets to be pretty long game. Chinese economy. You've been here before, haven't you? welcome everybody. I'm streaming tomorrow night, viewer tournament just for fun. We do 7+2 rapid, so 6 p.m. Central European Summer Time. If anybody wants to play, come out and hang out for a 2 hours tournament. That's tomorrow night. I'm winning too much. Well, I haven't had high rated players today. When we start playing the guys who are like 2100, it gets pretty tough. I start dropping games. Most of the players today have been like 16, 17, and 1800, which I'm supposed to win like most of the time. 95% of the time. Yesterday I had to cancel my simul due to health reasons, but I'm better now, luckily. I was in extensive pain. You're winning too much, Tushar. You need a hard game now. Well, what are you playing in? Atomic player. No, I'm not doing 5-0. Only 5-3. Because of the 5-0, I can't really commentate the games, and that's what I really am here for. Trying to do some kind of instructive stream. Alright, this after h6, you know, you start thinking maybe I can turn it and try to play like Psycho style Queen d2 and Castle Queenside, but I really think it's probably in White's best interest to just keep it simple. I still have f4. Queen d2 will force him to play King h7. There are tactics though if I castle. I have to watch out for something like knight e5, bishop takes h3, and then knight f3 check, forking my king and queen. 5-0 is a possible tournament time control. I didn't know if you were talking about that. Well, actually, Atomic Player was just asking about challenging me individually. Yes, I've done 5-0 for the time control. Yes. But I think I'm going to do 7+2 tomorrow. But in the future, we will do 5-0. Alright, now, in the King's Indian, you always take with a knight on d4, but this is a Pierce, and sometimes in the Pierce, it's okay to take with the bishop. It's difficult to kind of explain why that is. I still would argue that taking with the knight is slightly more natural. I decided not to put my queen on d2 finally. Those knight e5 tactics not working with my knight on f3, queen on d1, knight on d4, queen on d1, because my queen covers f3. There's no bishop takes h3. So I'm looking at like knight takes d4, knight e5, f4, but that runs into knight c4. So here I can consider bishop takes d4 or knight takes d4 and then knight e5 and something like b3, which is actually, that looks fairly standard. It's strange to play b3 with this bishop on the long diagonal, but I need to control the c4 square. Let me try something. Whoops. There, I made it red. The red square. I don't want a knight coming in there and like harassing my bishop on e3 and forking it and making me play bishop to c1. Why if you play bullet? What? Alright. I don't play bullet, but I don't hate you if you do. Knight takes d4. As I said, bishop takes is also possible. This is slightly more natural, though. I mean, the knight is very strong. If you play c5, he weakens his position. I have knight b5, crushing the d6 pawn. Bullet is like not about chess. It's just about like clicking the mouse and who's faster. All right. This looks a little suspicious to me. Black's like maneuvering out to the side of the board when we're still fairly early in the game, and there's like a lot to be done developmentally for Black. I think this is suspicious. On the other hand, I mean probably like g4. Well, at g4 I could even meet with f4. No, at this point we reinforce g3, and then we can play g4 and f4. Don't think. Well, another good thing... I mean, there's something to be said for just playing on intuition, and I think I don't do it enough. And I've lost touch. I try to think, calculate too much, and I've lost touch with my intuition to some degree, and that's bad. You can't possibly calculate everything, and I think a lot of times I waste too much time trying to calculate everything. Would Queen D2 just win a pawn? He can always play King H7. I mean, no. King H7 is a standard defense. So here again, the Knight C4 thing is rearing its ugly head. Possibly I have Queen E2, covering that without weakening my structure. B3, C5. Queen E2 looks decent. Let's just go with that. My queen keeps an eye on his knight. He doesn't have any kind of F5 because I'll just take on F5. The natural move is knight b5, but he's just going to gain time. So I'm going to have to play knight back to either b3 or f3. My first thought was f3. To challenge his knight on e5. Somehow it feels safer. But maybe b3 is better here in this case. I'm not sure. Dracofire, I didn't play you already? I felt like I played you already. Queen e7 is a strange choice. No, I mean, you have to keep touch with your intuition. I think I've lost mine to some extent, and that's bad. Obviously, that's bad. Whoops. Alright, I've got to go here now. I probably should have played knight d5 first move a minute ago, but we're still much better now. I could play c3, nullifying his bishop on g7. That's not so much an issue here. Kind of tricky. But black has made some concessions. I don't know, my e4 pawn is kind of weak. Saying kind of all the time too much. I just want to reinforce that. Creepy crawly. It seems weird to undevelop, but I'm uncovering defense and I'm also defending b2. My bishop got out of the way of the other pieces. Now it just looks like we're gonna just slowly roll. Good position for white. We're slightly better in all cases here. I kind of think he should have taken with the pawn there. Taken with the pawn. Taking with the pawn would have taken away that backwardness that he's suffering from. There's no easy way to win the game, though. It's going to take a lot of building up. But I guess at this point we can redeploy. Now the bishop doesn't need to stay on the passive c1. White's just better, but it's far from winning. But we can really milk this advantage for like 100 moves. Like his weak pawn is feels much more like a weakness than mine. The white squares are going pretty far south here. But it's still hard to break through. Ideally, white should probably win the game on both sides of the board. Man, he missed knight f6 there. I'm not sure if it worked, though, because I had e5. Okay. Maybe it didn't work. Wow. Now e5. No, it's no way for him to quite free himself here. Just try not to panic. Good defense by Dracofire, though. And he got down very low on time. I mean, I guess I was probably always better. I was really worried about that one point where he had knight f6, but I don't think it worked here. I was freaking out because I thought, oh no, he has knight f6. Not this position, but a move later or something. No, here, I guess. Knight f6 e5 is just good for me. No. Okay. So we always had it under control. SXPG, let's see, we got any other challengers who are subscribers? Tushar. Valido might be a subscriber too. Okay, Tushar's subscription lapsed, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's been a really, really devoted follower here on the stream. Alright, I didn't play any E4 today, so I'm going to try one of those. Yeah, I think Valido's a subscriber. I'm not sure if he still is, but he was. Are you playing this artificial intelligence, Leela? I don't know, man. I kind of gave up playing computers because it's just... It used to be fun. I used to at least have a chance to draw against them. But when you get to the point where you can't even draw a single game, I think that playing computers is destructive. And actually, probably even before that. You know, I mean, the thing is, if you play with computers too much, it just makes you gun shy. I mean, you're going to be like... It's going to be changing your style where you're like afraid all the time. I don't think that's really good. Thanks, Soltigo. Yeah. Okay, Valida. Cool. I'll play you up next. Tushar Kamde. He likes to play... I like the way that Tushar plays the black side of the Roy Lopez Spanish game. Yeah, I mean, if you're like super objective, you'd have to be... If you're like just super, super objective and you can just handle it without changing the way you play against humans, then maybe playing computers is good for you. But I think for most people, if you constantly play computers, it would hurt your game. At least, I don't know, the benefits would seem to at least, you know, negate the positives. For me, it just like kills my ego, you know. Amitesh says, can I play too? You just have to be in the queue. I mean, if you're in the queue, there's a chance you can play. I've got this subscriber and one other subscriber to my YouTube channel. My Twitch channel. I also have a YouTube where I upload the streams, guys. Video chess training on YouTube. But I do take the subscribers first on Mondays and Wednesdays, and Fridays I just take all the challenges. I take all the challenges as they are. So this is our second Marshall. Last time Tushar played a really obscure variation that I had never seen before and confused me. Now he's probably refined his knowledge. Do you play Queen E2 of the Spanish, Nicolas? No, I never played the Whirl Attack, though I did recommend it to one of my students because he was playing that, and I think it's not bad. You know, Tivyakov plays that pretty well. Objectively, it's probably not a big deal, but I think that the queen e2 could be a very good practical line against players who don't know sidelines that well. I like playing sidelines. I think there's a lot to be said for it. We could very much call that the queen e2 whirl attack a sideline, and I think that average players tend to be not so well prepared. So Tushar is repeating his obscure variation from the last time. Now, last time I played rook h4, queen f5, knight d2, and it looked good. But then I went wrong later on. This has only been played in like one game according to the database. And then we played it last time. But he did something here that... Not that move, though. That's a new move. What did you do last time, Tushar? Oh, he played queen g6 last time. That was it. He played queen g6, and I should have played queen h5, and I ended up not doing it. But this is a new move. It's a developing move. Well, interesting. I mean, bishop c2 looks kind of tempting, because his queen is really boxed out. Where's his queen going to go, you know? I don't think bishop e6 is a really, a very useful move, because he blocks his play along the e-file, which is a typical idea in this Marshall. Now queen h5, maybe. Is my rook going to get trapped, though? It's not really going to get trapped, but it could become kind of awkward. Knight e4. No, my rook is something I have to think about. Some kind of strange refinement. It's a very strange line, this h6. Queen h5, queen takes, rook takes. This may be a mistake, though. Probably a bad move. But I don't think he should play that. He should probably play queen h7 to really call it into question. Though this may be good as well. My rook is very, very awkward here. He's used 14 seconds for the whole game. What am I going to do about my rook? My rook is basically trapped now. Wow, this is super awkward. Govin Kurtz. Rook e8. I don't know what my plan is here. I mean, I'm in big trouble. But Tushar's time use is crazy. He's up to 21:31 now. 32. Only used 30 seconds for the whole game. This isn't theory, you know. H6 is no theory. He just made it up, and then he's playing it a second time. But I told him it wasn't theory, but he's continuing it. He was kind of lucky the first time. Now he's lucky again the second time. I played another bad move. I wonder if rook h4 is even good here. It just seems like my rook keeps ending up in trouble because of the h6 pawn. It's really hard to get my pieces out without getting something trapped. Fly in Sky, according to Tushar, was banned. This was a guy who played 3 games against me that were ridiculously suspicious. But he was so high rated in Bullet that I guess lichess just believed he was for real. I mean, people can cheat in Bullet, right? It's been done, I assume. I think that Black had better than this. You know, he should have had a way to trap my rook already. My rook is still awkward, but I mean, if I can just get it out of there or just survive somehow, I'm happy. There's no way the white is better here. I mean, playing f3, I don't know. I've got no development. My rook is out in a bad place. Whoa. I'm just happy to hold on. With no time and a bad opening. White's not worse here. But my king is too strong, you know? I mean, that's the thing. My king compensates for my bad structure. I was happy to give the pawn back just to break his initiative, get my rook trapped, untrapped. I think he could have trapped that rook. F5 seems F5 seems okay. I don't know. I thought the king f8, king e7 was the best. This way I get my rook out, you know, very active here. I don't really want a king and pawn ending. I don't know, b4 is a little bit risky, but I want to freeze his pawn on a6. Threaten to really win it. And feels like somehow this should be about equal. c5 is probably the best move. He's temporarily sacrificing a pawn. King and pawn in game. Check, take, king up, king takes, king up. He has the further outside pawns in a way. I'm not sure I like that. I would assume there's ways to cheat in Bullet, no? I mean, how do people get banned on chess.com in their prize tournaments or whatever? Isn't like King Crusher constantly crying about people cheating? Like, can't you have like a bot running? I mean, isn't that the point? Even 20 years ago, that would have been possible. What are we doing here? Check and then rook f7. I don't know if I can win though. It may just be a draw. I just don't see how to win. He's got this rook magically defending everything. If you play a really strong unhuman move, King Crusher will complain. See, that's the thing where I think that most people get fooled. Probably it's the sneaky moves, you know. This is a draw. The computer even claims that he's okay, it's equal. it was gonna say better, but it's a draw. No, I mean black was better. Like after the opening. Again, I don't know. I've got to work this out, but there's no games to analyze. I mean, it just seems like this h6. There's no previous game, so I don't have anything to look at. This much is standard. Then he plays h6. Just played by some random French 2200. Okay, we'll look at a4, but I think that we need to let Stockfish run a long time on this position. I wouldn't trust its first reaction. I'm beginning to think that my move rook h4 is suspect, though the computer is playing it now. It may be better just to develop my pieces. Like, there's no reason I have to play rook h4. He's not actually threatening anything, and h6 is a slow move. So I think if I play this again in the future, maybe we got to stop playing this rook h4. The only thing is that he can play g5. You know, he can try to follow up with g5 and prevent like, you know, rook h4 forever. But rook h4 may be the suspect move. Queen f5 now. And this is the game we had before. But last time he played queen g6, which I thought was pretty natural. That was Stockfish #1 move. Now he improvised with bishop e6 over the board, which at first sight looks kind of weird, but it's still a developing move. Computer claims very little advantage here for white. I don't know what I should do in this position. My rook on h4 is extremely extremely awkwardly placed. They'll have to research this again. It looks like, though, as I said, I think rook h4 is kind of difficult. It appears he was better at some moment. I was thinking he could trap the exchange. Stockfish says here he's better. Of course, I'm worried about like bishop h5, bishop f5, bishop f5 with the threats of bishop h3 check. That's really I'm on the margin of losing the game here. At this point, I misplayed this really bad. It looks like I made, I don't know, it looks like I made some kind of blunder. I guess queen h5. Queen h5 was just trying to resolve the situation too quickly. Wow, the engine finds this. This is a move I wouldn't have found on my own, like unless I had a lot of time. Knight c4. Alright, man, this is a position you need time, and I don't have enough. And Tushar is like blitzing me. Alright guys, any other subscribers? We had Valido. We're going to play Valido and then probably 2 other games against other guys. But I think next time I'm not going to play rook h4 again. We'll try to do without that, because my rook just keeps getting stuck outside the position where it's like constantly getting trapped. And I was just like trying to bail out and draw. Yeah, I mean, if I ever play knight e4, my knight is constantly going to get hit by, like, you know, f5 at some point. Let's try g6. I played the Nimzo a couple of times today. Maybe we could even play a Grunfeld. I feel like the Grunfeld would actually be more natural to my style of play. I did play the Grunfeld up until the point when I was around 1900. For some reason, maybe I played it a couple times after that, but for some reason, I never had great success with the Grunfeld. I played it a lot, though, when I was learning. Against a friend, a good friend. I used to play the Grunfeld religiously up until the point I was around expert strength, or what we call in U.S. Chess Federation expert. But it's so theoretical, it's kind of a turn-off, honestly. You know, the Grunfeld being so trendy because Kasparov played it, Fischer played it. Also, like, it's just a really popular opening. Here in Hungary, it was very, very popular because of Grandmaster Adorian and Leko. Probably Leko played it because of Adorian, but it doesn't change anything. But I still like the Grunfeld. I like that it leads to open positions. Fancy rook maneuvers. You need time to think, you know, that's not an easy position to play. Valido's playing the line that I play. The modern classical variation. Modern exchange variation, excuse me. So this position with rook b1 and bishop e2, I don't really like the pawn grab, cd, and queen a5 check. I think I'd rather play something else. I think I played knight c6 the one time I played this with black. Maybe I lost the game, but I can't remember if it was with white or black in this line. I just keep thinking about this game I had with this guy Todd Andrews. It was played in LA in like 1997, no, 99. But I can't remember which color I was. Could I have played the Grunfeld? I don't know. Somehow I doubt it. I must have been white in that game. I must have been white. Todd was black and I was white. I have played this position quite a lot with white, but never with black. Sack the c3 pawn. But that's a well-known line, you know. That's a different variation. Oh, Todd is... Todd is a friend of yours? No, Todd was... I lost the game to him in LA, and it was like... I was white. Queen d2, so Valita knows all the theory, apparently. Am I supposed to play queen a5 here? Queen e5, rook b3. I'm supposed to play e6, I thought. That was like maybe the only time I ever lost this line with white against Todd. No, I lost to Ilya Gurevich once too. This exact position I lost. Ilya played bishop h8 against me in a rapid tournament. That's like an old line. For some reason they thought bishop h8 is like better than bishop g7. Ilya was like an expert, then he quit chess. He was like world junior champion, I think. Now he's like in the banking industry or something in San Francisco. But Todd played bishop c7 against me. This is the more modern way to play. Valito, he seems to know an awful lot of opening theory. Wow. As much as most masters. This must have been my game with Todd. I had no idea what happened next. I mean, if I play like b6... No, bishop a5, that's it. Isn't that it? This must be the theory. I don't remember it, though. I have no idea what went on. I just didn't know the line that well. This bishop c7, this whole variation was relatively new when I played that game with Todd Andrews in '99, and I didn't really know it deep enough. Something went drastically wrong for me. I don't know, man. I mean, chess engines are important, but you gotta think for yourself and use, you know, it helps if you guide them with human intuition. So guys, I'm gonna play this guy and then probably 2 more games. d6 smells like more theory. No, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. My b7 pawn is under pressure. Queen f6 or something. This is all book. That's a lot of theory to know. This is a variation that I never studied enough. 16 moves of theory for white. Probably d6 is like the main line. Thinking about like rook e8. It's still very awkward though. I have no clue what I'm supposed to do here. b6 looks really weakening. I mean, if I play bishop f5, he's just taking my pawn on b7. Does his rook get trapped? Not really. I mean, I don't see how it's going to get trapped. He's just taking my pawn. Maybe I can play it and somehow sacrifice that pawn. I mean, he's on my f7. He's in my face. I could play like queen f6, but then what's the next move? Maybe that's it. Okay, let's try it. We'll play like queen f6 and rook d8 really fast and try to sack a pawn. If I can play quick queen f6 and rook d8, I can just like instantaneous. Attacking c3. We probably sack a pawn. We have some compensation here. This also defends f7. I'm a little worried about the a7 pawn. What's up? But I don't know if he's supposed to give me this pawn on c3 like that. This could be a mistake for white. I didn't find the position particularly easy for white to play. That's how I lost to Todd Andrews. You know, I got confused. I mean, from a standpoint of pawn structure, black's pawn structure is more healthy. You know, these pawns in particular seem like hard to kind of maintain, you know, and I don't remember exactly how I lost, but it has something to do with that. Is bishop b2 now? Seriously? Wow. Alright. Guess I have to take it. And I'm facing a very powerful fast-passed pawn. A fast-passed pawn. This at least gets his rook out of my face for the moment. But it looks like white is just still better here. It's going to be hard to blockade and defend against all of his threats. I don't like him invading along the b file. Guys, tomorrow night we're going to do a viewer tournament. It'll be 7+2 rapid, 6 p.m. Central European summertime. I would be happy just to pull off a draw here. You know, forgetting about my opponent's rating for a second. You know, I think objectively the draw is a decent result. I should really hold this. White's played this extremely well. I'm still worse with his passed pawn, his strong passed pawn. Okay, I'm not down any material, and I don't think that white's advantage should really be quite winning. But his play so far was really strong. This is not the best move. This may be a very bad move. Still, it may be a draw even after a bad move, though. I mean, I'm going to be able to win this dangerous pawn. That's the most important thing. Even if he goes into a rook ending up a pawn or something, I'm still going to hold. Because it'll be like, actually, he shouldn't even be able to get that. How's he gonna, is he gonna like win my c5 and a7 pawns? Yeah, this is best. Then I go back. He takes on c5, I take on a2. He comes down to the 7th, I play bishop e6. He takes my a pawn, I play king e7, and we just draw. It's all forced. White played well, better than me, but he didn't pursue winning chances here. After rook c7, a5 has no point. I'll just draw the game. I mean, c4, rook c1, bishop takes d7, rook d1. Okay, that's the kind of trick you could fall for, I guess. This has nothing to do here. I mean, that's his second draw. We played only 3 times. Well, it's not over yet, but I don't see either side winning this position. I mean, I don't know if it's best to, yeah. So let's see analysis board here. I don't know how far we went in the theory. I thought that it was right until, this is my theory is like 19 years old, by the way. The last time I played this was 19 years ago. Almost 19 years ago. This is all book. All book. This is main line. So my intuition to play b5, that move doesn't score that well. b6 doesn't score that well. I don't remember what Toad played against me, but it appears that rook b8 has turned out to be the main line. So my bishop f5 has only been played in a couple of games. Queen f6. But this apparently doesn't really work that well. He could have played bishop e2. This was second best move he chose, rook d1. And we followed this game, Kuzabov versus Mitan from 2005. Bishop e2 is apparently only move. But I mean, white may have better. You know, if he tries to play bishop e2 in the first place, that seems more testing to me. But probably I should just be playing rook b8 anyway and not giving up my pawn on b7 or b6. But rook b8 apparently. A lot of strong Grunfeld players have worked on this position. So if they decided, there's a game Caruana from 2012, 2011. If they decided rook b8 is the best move, this has been subjected to like tons of computer analysis probably. The end of the game, Valido had an 8 cent pawn loss with 2 inaccuracies. I had 0 cent pawn loss with 6 inaccuracies. I mean, 6 cent pawn loss with 0 inaccuracies. That's crazy. Obviously, I'm a computer. But there was no chance for black to win. At no point, you know, was I even better. Alright, let's play 2 more games, guys, for the rest of the stream. I've got a 7 days correspondence there. We'll play SXPG and Nikola chess, looks like. Well, I took a suggestion there to play bishop f5. I didn't know what to do. I like that. I try not to use the viewer's suggestions for my moves, you know, but really, I mean, I didn't have that many choices. I like bishop f5. It is a slightly more active move than playing. I didn't like b6. Apparently that doesn't score too well. Alright, SXPG. Well, maybe we'll go into an English. But I think that the computer helps you to understand how to evaluate positions. You know, you can see what the evaluation is, and then you work backwards to try to understand why is the computer evaluating this position at 0.5 or whatever. You know, if you work backwards and figure out and understand, you can't just say, oh, the computer says it's +1 without understanding why. I mean, it doesn't do you any good. But if you have the skills to be able to take the computer's evaluation and then like work, as I said, work backwards to figure out why, you just can't take it for granted though. You can't say, oh well, I'm better. I don't know why, but I'm better. You know, that doesn't do you any good. All right. I mean, maybe I should learn to play like d4 or something. That's... This move from SXPG, yeah. This is the Rubinstein variation. I know that it's possible to play d4. I played that once here. There's some kind of gambit maybe with d4, d takes c. This is a variation that I don't really like for white, and I never really did. My last game with Ivan Farago last year, I made a draw, but every time I play this opening, I feel like I'm playing black. I feel like I'm playing black in Marazzi. That's all it is, you know. It's like, but if you think about the English opening, I gotta stop hovering my mouse over resigns. If you think about the English opening, you really have to admit that you're playing black. And once you come to that realization, you know, you can play the best you can, but you have to understand, once c4, it doesn't prevent e5. And you're basically effectively playing the Sicilian with an extra move. And I think that black equalizes. It may be possible to equalize against everything, against e4, d4, but against the English opening it seems slightly easier. I would think that knight f3 might be a touch stronger than c4, objectively. This is just a really random kind of conversation, but I do hate playing the white side of this. And I've had this problem. There's no way to really avoid the move order. If I'm going to play g3 on move 4, I allow this. But I was thinking about d5. I have to look at this again. I think there's some endgame there. Like d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, d takes c, knight takes c6, queen takes d1, check, king takes d1, b takes c. Like Svidler has played that with white, I think. But the problem with e6 is that when you play e6 here, you're just transposing back into something solid. You know, you're no longer like equal. You're playing like you're black again. And it's much better to play knight c7, which is the main line of the Rubinstein. Just pressuring d4. That's now you're really like effectively white again. But e6, it's solid, but it's still not equal. Not easily equal. A lot of players hate playing against the semi-Tarrasch, and I don't really like it either, but I still like it better than being black, which is effectively what I am after knight c7. Here, I guess we play d4 mostly. I mean, it's possible to play just like quietly with d3, but then again, I'm black. What's the opening moves? d3, d5, knight f3, e6. Okay, that's really weird. Once against Chess Explained, I was playing like 10 poker tables or something. This was years ago, and he did a video on one of our blitz games where I played like, he has no idea like I'm like multitasking, and I was playing him in like 10 poker games, and I played like d3 on move 1 and bishop d2. He was like laughing about it, you know. But I still won the game. He did a video. He was crushing me though, and I somehow swindled him. Knight takes d4 castles. Yeah, so this is all like mainstream theory. Not a very exciting variation. I've seen some high-level games in this line. B takes C, bishop d2, and white just has like a tiny static advantage based on pawn structure here. I don't think I've ever actually played this position. But the knight on d5 is really strong, so if I were to play queen c2 now, and he plays knight b4, well, I don't think he really achieves anything with that. No, he would just misplace his good knight. Like, knight before queen c1. Okay, he could also misplace my queen, but is it, at the end of the day, it's kind of like BFD, he puts his knight on b4, I put my queen on c1. This is probably more correct, threatening my pawn. Developing a piece, so to speak. But where should I put my rook, actually? Let's try this. Much more active than rook e1. My rook has no future on e1. It defends the pawn, but what does it do? Somebody fire up the ambulance. Where's the ambulance emote? Are they ready yet, Saltigo? I still have to give the approval on the emotes. Did we ever... Yeah, I didn't really come up with a final decision on the emotes. I like the ambulance emote. Now I know firsthand what it's like to be in the hospital here next door. It's good that there's a hospital so close. Yesterday I had an all-day visit to the local hospital. It was really fun. The hospital is just like 3 blocks away. I guess that's why we have so many ambulances. Now, is this just blundering a pawn? Not so easy, because, the e2 pawn will hang at the end of the day. But I have, like, bishop f4. Then he, like, defends himself. But queen c7 is... that's really asking for it. Knight takes d5, e takes d5, bishop takes d5, bishop takes e2. Bishop f4 doesn't work because of bishop d1. So take. Then I have to play like rook e1. I've got the better pawn structure. And what's going on here? I could just play bishop f4, chop bishops, and just play this structure where he's got like hanging pawns. Maybe that's what Rubinstein would do, We'll keep some pawns on the board, and we'll keep some pieces and pawns on the board and play against the hanging pawns. I still think that black is okay here. Whereas bishop takes d5 looked like it allows like all kinds of mass exchanges. Bishop takes d5, bishop takes e2. That's okay. Pawn to e4, good question. I didn't really consider pawn to e4, but I should. Well, it does allow exchanges. This is... Your advantage is like, it's like getting smaller and smaller, I think. The more pawns we trade, the closer he is to a draw here. So, my only problem with e4 is that it simply trades pawns. He may get a little bit closer to a draw there. Here, there's 6 pawns on the board, and the e4 variation. Well, I could play e4 now. I'm not sure if that's what you meant. But I can play e4, he can play d4. We both have passed pawns there. That's not so convincing. He does have a strong passed pawn. I'm just going to stick with my original plan. Play this position where, it's my king is safe, it's simple, it's a hanging pawn position. He has a slightly inferior structure. I know the d5 pawn was hanging, but so was my pawn on e2. what did I have? I mean, what am I going to do, you know? That was the line. Bishop takes d5, bishop takes e2, and I wasn't sure. My rook is now under attack on d1. So we can see after the game, but I didn't see anything clear. And if I don't see anything clear, I'm going to try to stay with something where I can just kind of squeeze a small advantage. Why didn't you move bishop takes d5? I just said this, didn't you guys hear? It's a little bit like a delay in the stream, I guess. But my e2 pawn is hanging. It's just an exchange of pawns. I mean, this is just a fancy exchange of pawns, guys. No, there's nothing special. Bishop takes d5, bishop takes e2, bishop f4, bishop takes d1. I mean, my rook is hanging. So I'd rather take this tiny advantage than something unclear where I'm just trading pawns. Probably it'll be a draw anyway. Dank Memer. Nice name. Rook b6. I've got to move my b pawn at some point. Right, let's get all the pieces developed first. You know, I'm not sure about rook b6. It's kind of an interesting move. It defends the pawn. He's got like weird maneuvers with rook a6. But it doesn't do anything about like queen c5. It seems like that's what he wants to deal with now. This is straight out of like Rubinstein endgames. And in fact, it looks exactly like one of Rubinstein's most famous rook endgames. Or rook a5 may be good. I'm not sure the best is. I'm going to alternate threats between the pawns, the different pawns. This is probably a bad move. I didn't really gain much from that. I need to play e4. Now maybe e4. He has quite a bit of counterplay, though. I think this is a slight improvement on the Rubinstein endgame. It's extremely similar position, but it feels like black is okay here. His king is so active. I'm not sure about that, though. King d6. King d6 almost seems strange. In general, it's okay, but I was more concerned about him getting his rook to the d file and coming down here. And by playing king d6, he actually robs himself of that. SXPG plays usually in my simuls. He's really tough for his rating. I mean, this is better for white, but probably not enough to win necessarily. I don't want to trade rooks and fix his pawns. I mean, I guess I could. He's defended this pretty well. It's hard to make progress with a good king. Now I have this rook on the 7th, though. I'm actually not really threatening anything special there. I think he's just melting down. He just dropped his h7 pawn for nothing. Is it for nothing, though? Is it really for nothing? Seems like he'll get some counterplay. Well, I mean, I don't know. Even rook c8, you know, he's starting to get some threats along the c-file. My play was very hesitant here. It's probably not enough, huh? Because if rook c8, rook c5... I was thinking bishop f1. I can also play bishop h3 first. Force him to play f5, weaken his position, and then play bishop f1. Okay, so I'm just up a pawn. But it looks like at some point he was just totally fine. There was also the possibility of black playing c5 in one moment. He could have played c5 here, no? I thought at the very least he could play this and play d4. And this is probably not so bad. I have e5, but it's not convincing. He can take that pawn. At the very least, black has this, and he's only like tiny bit worse. Kathy Heaven says, I'm retiring to take up chess, thanks to you. Bishops are tough to give up. Maurice calls it a chess exchange. We shall see. Alright guys, one more game. We're gonna play with Nikola Chess here. My old friend from Budapest. Alright, so Nikola Chess playing d4. I played the King's Indian. We'll try something different here. I think I might have done this once before against Nikola Chess. I don't remember. I tried to play for e5 like an early old Indian style, but he's not letting me do that. Now I have to transpose back into a King's Indian. You could also try bishop g4, but it's not a variation that's particularly great for black. So I don't know. Nikola Chess, I thought you played e4. Maybe not. Knight c3, bishop g7. This is all an aggressive way to play with black, where you keep the pieces on the board in the King's Indian, and you play with less space. So I'm ceding my opponent a lot of space, but I'm willing to do that in an attempt to create winning chances. Basically giving him some rope. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end the stream after this game. Then tomorrow night it's 7 p.m. Central European Summertime tournament, 7+2. Nice long thinking kind of game with 7 minutes. All right. Castles e5. This knight a6 King's Indian is something I inherited from Grandmaster Jinji Hashvili. I was playing this for years. It's still played today. It's not like the main line. It's another sideline. I'm like a sideline specialist. I kind of like avoiding mainstream stuff. Once again, Soltigo, thanks for the 1,000-bit donation. Again, tomorrow night, guys, we will be doing the tournament. Regular streams this week, Monday through Friday, and then Sunday. Sunday we'll have a fast simul this week. On Sunday, I think 30, because I've got my last Hungarian team championship game. This is a form of the Petrosian variation. Queen c2, a5. Actually, I played someone from your state, Soltigo. Jared Bryan of Maine. We had a game in this line, I remember. I got kind of distracted in the last round of a tournament because this certain player was dumping a game for money, and I couldn't concentrate on my own game because it was affecting my chances to win a prize. I got distracted and drew from a good position. Bishop e3. This is probably one of the main moves. There's also bishop g5. Now white's threatening knight to d2. if I play b6, knight g4 might be theory. Let's try that. I think b6 is just too passive. I mean, then knight d2 and white has a good setup. I've had a number of games over the years. I lost to a guy named Adrian Casillas once. Mexican-American master. He's like in London now for years. I think he works for like Deutsche Bank. He was pretty strong though, 2300. That game I played, I actually haven't scored well. I won one game, I think. Maybe won one game, lost one, and drew one in the 3 games that I've played this line with black. It's pretty solid for white. I won a game a couple years ago in the New England Open against the FIDE Master. Lost that game to Casillas, and I drew the game with Jared Bryan. So 3 games, three results. But I feel like I remember this in the chess encyclopedia. Like knight g4, it seems like a weird move because I'm not developing. Maybe he's supposed to play bishop g5 here. On the other hand, maybe I shouldn't play knight h6. Maybe I should play knight f6. And on knight takes e5, I can play knight takes d5. My knight ends up being kind of on a bad path, but it could be a good path. Rook d1 makes sense. Okay. Very positional play by white. If d6, c6, and I just live with the pawn on d6. There it is. That's what I expected. We just play blockade and we surround this pawn. We try to surround the pawn anyway. But I don't think that the standard plans like f5 are maybe quite as strong as normal. Yeah, but I mean still obviously f5 is an important idea. But the main concept in this position is really the fact that white has given up his dark square bishop, I think. If we could find a way to exploit that factor, you know, the fact that he doesn't have really good control on the dark squares, that would be turning the tables in our favor. But it's not so easy to really see how I'm gonna, like, you know, exploit any particular weaknesses. Knight h2, leaving the center, looking for, it looks like he's looking for the g4 square. So it looks like Fox's suggestion of playing f5. I mean, now, you know, if he ever tries anything, you know, he's going to really weaken his dark squares. What I don't want to do is, like, trade pieces here. Give him some ending where he's, you know, he's comfortable. Let him trade, like, knight on g4, bishop on g4, and then reach some simple endgame where his knight is better than my bishop or something. This is very complicated. I want to keep the tension. I want to keep the pieces on the board. And then slowly... Wow, yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. I mean, if the dark squares go, then white's going to be in trouble. But okay, you know, maybe it's not so easy. At first glance, it looks very dangerous for white. Well, it is kind of dangerous. But it's not so easy to see how I'm gonna do anything. I'm not even sure if this is a good move or not. And we have a lot of pieces pointing toward the king side, but it's not that easy to exploit it. Queen g5 or something. I think I can probably win on time if I keep playing quickly. Use the time at least. Use the time to my advantage to put pressure on him. Not sure. I mean, I was thinking maybe taking on e4 here, but I should probably play rook a e8 first. There's also bishop e5. I feel like in this position I should just simply try to improve my pieces. Oh, he's starting knight f3. Okay. Yeah, this is a strong move. Wow. I could play bishop takes c3, force him to take with the pawn, but I give up a very powerful piece in doing that. Looks like white is hanging on here. Rook takes f5, rook takes f5. He just like pre-moved knight f3, dropping a piece. Oh, he didn't drop a piece. Oh my god, he saw... No, I mean, he did drop the exchange. I didn't even look at this. But he played so fast. I mean, he didn't even have time to think. Just playing too fast. I'm not really sure what was going on, but it seems like he just played completely on intuition. But then overlooked something. Still, I mean, he has a passed pawn here, so it's not that easy, but I don't really believe in white's position. He's down too much. A whole exchange. I guess he can protect it. I can attack it again. Queen d2, rook f6. Though that gets a little awkward, it's probably good enough. I'm not sure if the best moves were what I played. I mean, it wasn't easy in this time control to make a decision. And my rooks are kind of awkward, but it shouldn't matter. Well, I guess just this. Trading queens. Take with the bishop. We don't allow a knight fork. And we're just up the exchange and a pawn. Doesn't strike me as the kind of player to give up without a fight. I've got to watch out for the knight coming to e4 constantly. This is a bad blunder. It allows me to exchange rooks. That removes pretty much any danger of me messing up the game. I mean, there's almost no way I can go wrong now without a rook on the board. Plus I have rook f2, so it's just over. He might get this pawn back. I'm not that worried about that. I want to stay active. Knight a4, I'm just constantly on the a2 pawn. This can always drop back here. We keep his king cut off, and then we're just coming up. We're just coming up. I mean, that this is going to be... However, if I play king f6, he has tricks. Bishop takes c6 or whatnot. Maybe I should put my rook on like b2. That way I won't get forked. Well, we're just trading now. We're just up the exchange and a pawn. So it's a slow but sure winning process for black. I got to get my king in the game if we can help it. This trading pieces here probably just expedites his demise. But let's check out, yeah, I named it after the band Sparkle Horse. At the time when I created the account, I was listening to him a lot. Kind of a tribute. Tragic story. We've got that extra pawn that makes all the difference in the world. The outside pawn is deadly. A knight can't stop an outside pawn. Knights and rook pawns are like the worst. Now his knight is trapped. Basically trapped. Where are you gonna go, Mr. Knight? Welcome to the corner. Yeah, knights and rook pawns do not go well together. Alright, thanks for the games, guys. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. Let's take a look at the opening, though. I'm going to be back tomorrow night with a viewer stream, viewer tournament stream, where we're doing 7+2 rapid. And everyone's welcome to play, 7 p.m. CEST. This is the question in this variation of Petrosian's line, Queen C2. So it turns out the main line is A5, which is what I normally play. And as I said, Bishop G5 is the main move here. But the Bishop E3, it has a bad score, but I don't really understand why. I mean, it doesn't seem like that bad of a move. Yeah, Knight G4 is the best according to the database. That doesn't mean that it's best in reality. I think I might have played B6 against Castaneda. But the problem is if B6, Knight D2, and White has a kind of easy position to play. Computer likes B6. Knight G4, okay. Bishop takes C5. I was suggesting Bishop G5 here. That's only been played in like 5 games and Black won them all. Okay, I guess that was a bad idea. Bishop takes C5, D takes C5. And then here, he played H3. Seems like the computer really likes White's structure. It's claiming like a pawn advantage for White. That doesn't play out in the games that have been played though. But I don't think that strong players really play this variation for White. So I think the result in the database is more, it's more a question of who's playing, not the position. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the thing, Tushar. The majority of these games are weaker players playing the white pieces here. And that's why the score is bad, not because the position is bad. Just not a trendy variation, not really a theoretical variation for White, but it's probably perfectly good. I've struggled a little bit here. I'm not sure I ever had this exact position. I lost something similar to Casillas, but my pawn was like on A4 and it got... I sacked a pawn against Adrian. I remember he had played A3, I played A4, and then the resulting like Bishop E3 type of Bishop takes C5 happened. I'm going to cancel this challenge. We can do the 7 days correspondence game. So here, as I said, both Knight F6 and Knight H6 are possible. And Rook D1 is a new move, though it seems okay. I'm not really sure that the Rook has a lot of mobility there, but he does support D6. Now Bishop D7 and then D6. Here the computer likes my move. It's a complicated position. I mean, I think it's just really a dogfight in a very closed, very closed sort of situation here. But I didn't like the fact that Nikola just played F4, you know, and he's probably going down a bad road here with Knight H2. It's interesting, but, you know, this move really... Okay, dude, I just closed your challenge. This move really weakens your structure on the dark squares. So, pawn takes F4. The Bishop D4 check, I'm not sure about. Computer wants to play Queen G5 right away. There's also F takes E4. I just don't think that you should play for F4, because the weakness on the dark squares. I think you should continue the Marshall Tushar. It seems like it's kind of natural. Comes kind of naturally to you. Yeah, definitely. You're pretty good tactically. I think the open position suits you. I would continue to play it, man. Stockfish likes my move, and then I don't know if it likes my next move. Queen G5. Not so much. Knight F7 I didn't consider. Just trying to win the pawn. Queen D2. Yeah, and here he just panicked with Knight F3. It's really like a total blunder. I expected rook takes f5, rook takes f5, pawn takes f5, queen takes queen, and this endgame, I mean, material is even. But my bishop should more than compensate for that advanced passed pawn, or at least compensate for the advanced passed pawn. It could actually be a weakness on d6. Anyway, guys, all right. I will see you tomorrow night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the donation, Mr. Soltigo, and Blazing Heart for you also for 24 bits. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to check out the replays on YouTube, Video Chess Training on YouTube. And yeah, that's it. So nothing else. Just thanks everyone for watching, and thanks for subscribing, and thanks for the wishes. I will see you tomorrow night. Bye bye.